Yeah, so can we start? Can you please let me know around 10 best practices of test classes, Nagendra? You also have to listen and you also need to prepare for that. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, rest of the team also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I start?
Yeah, definitely, please.
Okay. The first one is it is not recommended to use hard code IDs in the test classes, inside the test classes. So that is because it is not recommended to use the org record IDs inside the test classes. It's always preferred to use its own test data.
Exactly.
And the second one is it's in order, if we are using the same data in number of the many methods inside the test class, it is recommended to use the method at the rate of test setup, wherein the test data is written inside only one method and it is called inside all the other below methods.
Cool.
And also the next one is test start test and test stop test is recommended to use to encounter the governor limits. And okay, so the next one is see all data equals to true. It is not recommended to use this this one, because sometimes when we are deploying the code to the production org, if the records are already not existed in the production org, the test class fails.
Which annotation you said? Which one?
See all data equals to true.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and the next is at the rate of test visible. If the main class has any private methods which we want to use in the test class, that time we use at the annotation of test visible, so that it becomes visible to the test class, the method.
Right.
And also, so we use system.assert equal and system.assert not equal to test the expected values in the test classes. And when we are calling when we are doing integrations or when we are doing the web call out services, we usually do it using the mock classes. Recommended to use the mock classes for that purposes. And the next one is if we are using the same data in multiple different classes, that time it is recommended to use test factory class or a utility class to increase the reusability of the code. That increases the reusability of the code, wherein this class is called inside the different classes. And it's very important to follow the naming conventions, wherein the class is always started with a capital letter in the beginning, whereas the methods are method usually we starts with a lowercase and we use a capital letter whenever we are joining two words. And one more important thing is we usually run the test classes asynchronously. It is always recommended to run the test classes asynchronously. And anything else?
Okay. Nagendra, do you want to add something?
Ranya's system Ranya's.
Yes, if we encounter any DML exceptions, it is usually recommended to use system.runas method.
Why? Which error?
DML mixed exceptions. Mixed DML exception.
Anything else? Anyone can tell.
And one more is the parallel equals to true. Is test parallel equals to true.
Anything else
parallel equals
that I did?
Always use bulk data to test
Exactly.
the test class.
more
Bulk-
than 200.
Data testing. That's a good point. Yep.
Mhm.
Anything else?
And try always test for both the positive and negative cases.
Yep, that is also point. I think that is we have covered in equal and not equal. Yeah. So these are the points you are telling, right?
Mhm.
Do we have anything else? Are you going to add something? किसी का कोई point है? सब cover हो गए. सोच लो. ठीक है. I think we have covered like all the points. Might be one two way they are missing. That should be each test should be there instead of test method. That is a new thing. But that is मतलब दोनों से काम चल सकता है. That's not an issue. Yeah, and, we should have all the comments and all before the class. Why we are using, when using, who are using. Okay. So why we are writing this class? Utility class will be there. Okay. And all. Okay. So
I've today when I was like doing trial head regarding this test unit, I've encountered I've encountered with the one new word like test suite.
yeah, can you please let us know what is that?
Test suite is something when we want to run many test classes at the same time. I mean, like when we want to run many test classes, repeated number of times, whenever we want to run this number of test classes has to be run. So they can be together put into a single unit called as a test suite. When we run the test suite, all the classes inside test classes inside that, they all run at the same, all they run.
Okay, whatever the reference class is also there, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's cool. Great. Yeah. So now let's try to learn about little more about some Apex triggers and okay. So please don't forget money and sorry, Manu, ma'am, I forgot your name. Yeah. So and Nagendra and everyone. ठीक है. So जो concept हम यहाँ पे use कर रहे हैं. So please don't forget all that things. Okay, 1 second. Okay, cool. So now let's jump into some Apex triggers and all. So can we start and can you please let me know what is Apex trigger and why do we use?
Apex trigger is a piece of code which usually we wanted to execute when we are performing any DML operations that executes.
If you want to perform some DML operation, so that is a trigger you are saying, right?
Yes, the trigger executes when we perform any DML operation.
Okay. If my trigger is inactive, so that time also it will execute or not?
No, it doesn't execute. It has to be active. Usually when we create the trigger, it's active in the beginning. If we don't want it to execute, we have to keep it inactive.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, so if you have any question, please let me know. Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go to triggers. Yeah, so as you mentioned, like Apex trigger is a piece of code where so yeah, it's a piece. Why we are writing Apex trigger then? Like whatever the things which we have, which we cannot achieve from admin side, and which thing we can only perform with Apex trigger. So can you please tell even one point? Anyone?
Like
Validate unauthorized data. तो
वैलिडेट हम वैलिडेशन रूल से कर सकते हैं।
तो वैलिडेशन रूल को एक्सटेंड तो कर सकते हैं ट्रिगर के थ्रू, मतलब कि अनऑथराइज्ड डेटा को अंदर नहीं आने के लिए भी कर सकते
तो वो तो वैलिडेशन रूल से कॉम्प्लेक्स सिनेरियो हैंडल किए जा सकते हैं, नॉट इवन दैट वन ओनली। या कोई सॉलिड पॉइंट है किसी के पास?
when we want to perform operations like related to unrelated objects.
Unrelated object, we also can, operation means let's say creation and updation, something like this, right? वो तो हम प्रोसेस बिल्डर और फ्लो से भी कर सकते हैं। Like if you want to, if let's say there is a scenario, if I'm creating a new record on account object, so there is some another custom or standard object which is not directly linked with the account object, so record should be created over there also. So वो तो हम apex trigger से, sorry, उससे भी कर सकते हैं प्रोसेस बिल्डर से। So ऐसा क्या खास है इसके अंदर जो हम यहाँ से कर सकते हैं? To perform exactly undelete operation we cannot achieve using a flow and process builder। ठीक है, देखो अपना वर्क फ्लो के अंदर वर्क फ्लो इज अ फर्स्ट अप्रोच विच अ पार्ट ऑफ फर्स्ट ऑटोमेशन पॉइंट। ठीक है, सो व्हाट एवर द एक्शन वी कैन डू हियर, सो वी कैन डू अपडेट, we have field update, email alert, outbound message and new task। प्रोसेस बिल्डर के अंदर क्या कर सकते हैं मानू, आप बताओ?
We can perform operations like record creation.
Okay. Okay.
Update
Okay.
the record.
Okay.
And email notification.
Email alert.
And posting to the chatter.
Post to chatter.
And we also have.
Okay, Nagendra.
Call the flow.
Call
Yeah,
flow.
call the flow.
Yeah, cool. That's it.
Calling from Apex.
Call Apex class. किसी और को पता है? Can't we do something more?
Yeah, we can do usually 9 operations.
फील्ड अपडेट, रिकॉर्ड अपडेट कर सकते हैं, फील्ड अपडेट ये कौन सा सिनेरियो? रिकॉर्ड क्या फील्ड के अंदर ही तो, रिकॉर्ड के अंदर ही तो फील्ड होंगे। ठीक है, ठीक है, तो सबमिट फॉर अप्रूवल। ठीक है, मेन एक्शन की बात करेंगे हम, सारे सब एक्शन की बात नहीं करेंगे जो हम यूज नहीं करते, लाइक दैट इज जो हमारे नोटिफिकेशन रहते हैं। ठीक है, वो नोटिफिकेशन वगैरह सेंड होता है और बाकी की चीजें वो सब हम यूज नहीं करेंगे। सो इट्स वी कैन क्रिएट अ रिकॉर्ड, वी कैन कॉल अपेक्स क्लास, अपडेट द रिकॉर्ड्स and we can post to chatter, calling up flows, calling apex class, submit for approval. These are the few action which is extremely important. Okay, so okay, so these, let's say these, we have two solid point here. One is like we are discussing about related DML only, we are not like considering all these things। DMLs पे ही concentrate करेंगे हम। DMLs हमारे क्या है? record creation, like creation and updation। workflow के अंदर only updation है हमारा, right? But now let's go to little more advanced, that is a flow। Flow is a future of Salesforce admin। ठीक है, so if I'll go to flow, that is a flow builder, we can say it's a lightning flow builder or flow builder। So Manu, you know flow builder? Create record, what can we do in terms of DML in flow builder? Nagendra or anyone like जिसको idea
We can perform delete operations in the flow. We can't perform workflow and process.
Okay.
And update, create functions.
Great.
We can create only task in the workflow but in the flow builder, we can create everything.
Cool.
Even parent to child, child to parent also. In the process builder, we can't.
Parent to child, child to parent, we can update and create the records in process builder also.
Parent to child is only in a workflow, both possible in
Child,
process.
no. Child to parent.
Child to parent, yes. Child
If it is in master detail.
Mm-mm.
Okay, in a flow builder, so we have kind of like if we are using flow builder, then we have 1 second. Yeah, so in a flow builder, we can update from child to parent, parent to child both. We have 3 DMLs. Even we have multiple ways, screen flow, auto launch flow and all. But here we are discussing about only DML operations only. Now let me remove all these things. Okay, so but हमारे पास क्या क्या हो सकता है? If I'm creating the records, we can create the records in system. We can update the record in system. We can delete the record in system, and we can undelete the record in the system, right? We have kind of 4 DMLs. DMLs तो upside और ये सब वो सब भी हो सकती है, but it's a kind of high level. So now there is a one more thing for the part of automation, that is trigger. So in Apex trigger, so we can insert the record. I mean to say create the record. We can update the record. We can delete the record. And we can undelete the record. Yeah, it's a straightforward because it's a part of coding. These all are not a part of coding. So I think in coming release, Salesforce is also bringing an undelete operation in flow also. But as of now, we don't have. So we can differentiate like this if someone will ask you. Okay. So even हमारे पास create और update में भी काफी limitations रहती है flow builder के अंदर, flow process builder के अंदर and all. So create, update and delete. If we have a kind of dynamic records, like काफी database से query करके लेके आना है data, accordingly हमें modify करना है, it's a complex scenario, then we need to go to triggers only. Okay, so these are the things which we can do using a triggers. So now let's go to trigger type. So we have 2 type of trigger. It's a before.
So if like the main thing why we have to use trigger is we have to talk about only undelete.
Not even undelete. So undelete is a differentiate. We can differentiate undelete only. But let's take example. Let's take example like you need to update the record from child to parent. Or let's take example. Let's say I have one account. Let's say I have one account object under the account. So I have multiple around 20,000 contact. 20,000 contact. I need to update that same value account value to 20,000 contact. Or that is a value like let's say my if my phone number is changing, then I need to update the same phone number to all the child contacts. So easily I can go to Apex trigger and it can bulkify, it can handle all that records and all. That would not be possible using a flow builder and all, because querying the record from the child record is tough from them there. So whatever the complex logic, and here we can say it is updating the records only, but this is, we also have update option here. We also have update option here, but we cannot achieve this thing from here. Okay, so these are the few things which we need to take care while like differentiating things and all. So now let's go to Apex trigger. So we have 2 type of trigger, before and after. Before and after, what is difference between before and after? It's a straightforward, like don't take it more complex. Let's say I have 2 table. This is my account table. This is my contact table. Table means object is also a kind of table. If someone will tell you in the future, these are the table. Table means object only. Okay. So table के object ही होता है अपना. So if I am creating the records on the account table, account object, if I'm creating the records on the single object, and I'm saying whenever I'm creating the records, my phone number should be updated. Okay. So here I'm not waiting for anyone. So this is independent now. मतलब मैंने रिकॉर्ड बनाया, इंडिपेंडेंट है टोटली ये. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई अब let's say this is my second object. Here there is a one condition. This is related to before, and this is related to after. So there is a one more thing. Let's say I need to create a records here also. So condition ये है कि जैसे भी मेरे account के अंदर record create हो, after that, then this record will be created. Under this one, this record will be created. So this is totally dependent on my account object, right? This object is totally dependent on my account object. जैसे भी account record नहीं create होगा तो ये भी नहीं create होगा. अकाउंट रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट हुआ तब ये रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट होगा। विच इज इंडिपेंडेंट दैट इज बिफोर, विच इज डिपेंडेंट दैट इज आफ्टर। अब अभी हम सिंगल ऑब्जेक्ट की बात कर रहे हैं, अब सिंगल ऑब्जेक्ट पे हो गया बिफोर, और हम क्रॉस ऑब्जेक्ट की बात कर रहे हैं आफ्टर। बिकॉज इफ आई एम updating or I'm creating the record on this, after that this action will happen to another object. After that means after doing the operation here, after that we are going to insert the records, insert the update in another object, like that's after that, right? Not before that. So but here we are not waiting for anyone, it's a totally independent object. ठीक है। सो जो भी ऑब्जेक्ट आपका डिपेंडेंट है और किसी पे डिपेंडेंट है कि जैसे भी वहां पे एक्शन परफॉर्म होगा, आफ्टर दैट इट इज गोइंग टू हैपन द एक्शन ऑन दैट ऑब्जेक्ट, दैट इज आफ्टर ट्रिगर, एंड बिफोर मींस ऑन द सिंगल ऑब्जेक्ट। एंड वी कैन नेवर परफॉर्म एनी काइंड ऑफ डीएमएल ऑन द बिफोर ट्रिगर। हम डीएमएल नहीं परफॉर्म कर सकते बिफोर ट्रिगर के अंदर। आफ्टर ट्रिगर के अंदर वी इजिली कैन परफॉर्म द डीएमएल। जैसे यहाँ पे इंसर्ट हुआ, आफ्टर दैट वी नीड टू इंसर्ट द रिकॉर्ड्स हियर आल्सो। मैं यहाँ पे ये नहीं बोलूंगा कि जैसे मैंने इंसर्ट लिखा, इफ इट इज इंसर्टेड देन इट विल गो देयर, नहीं, मैं इंसर्ट इसी जो कॉन्टैक्ट है, लेट्स से अंडर द अकाउंट आई एम इंसर्टिंग द कॉन्टैक्ट, देन आई विल मेक अ डीएमएल ऑन द कॉन्टैक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट ओनली, ऑन द सेम ऑब्जेक्ट। आई विल नॉट परफॉर्म द डीएमएल ऑन द अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट ओनली। आफ्टर के सिनेरियो में जो मेरा अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट पे ट्रिगर है, तो मैं अकाउंट पे कभी भी डीएमएल नहीं करूंगा, मैं दूसरे ऑब्जेक्ट पे डीएमएल करूंगा सेम ट्रिगर के अंदर। जो मुझे यहाँ पे रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट करना, लेट्स टेक एग्जांपल, मेरे अकाउंट के अंदर मैं रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट किया, उसके बाद मेरे कॉन्टैक्ट के अंदर रिकॉर्ड क्रिएट हो जाए, मेरे ये कंडीशन है, तो मैं क्या लिखूंगा कि कॉन्टैक्ट इंसर्ट कॉन्टैक्ट, ना कि इंसर्ट अकाउंट। ठीक है, समझ में आया?
Yes. So if you're like working on the same object, so which is independent, then we cannot perform the DML operations.
Yeah, we cannot perform the, we should not write, and we can write, but if you write then you will get exception, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे अपने को कोई आईडी नहीं मिलती है। बिफोर के अंदर we don't get any ID is not, but in after we get ID, record ID. ठीक है, so these are the differences. So now let's go to event. These are the types. So in the event, so we have two type of triggers. So it's very simple to understand the event also. Before आप three times आप before लगा दो यहाँ पे, before and before. अब 4 टाइम आप after लगा दो, after and after. ठीक है, आपका हाफ इवेंट खत्म हो गए। अब यहाँ पे लगा दो इंसर्ट बिफोर इंसर्ट लगाया आपने, आफ्टर इंसर्ट लगाया आपने, ठीक है, बिफोर अपडेट लगाया आपने, सिमिलरली आपने आफ्टर अपडेट लगा दिया, बिफोर डिलीट लगाया आपने सिंपली आफ्टर डिलीट लगा दिया। अब आपने आफ्टर अनडिलीट लगाना है आपकी बार। अब हमारे पास बिफोर अनडिलीट नहीं होता है, मेक श्योर हमारे पास बिफोर अनडिलीट नहीं होता है, ओनली आफ्टर अनडिलीट होता है। टोटल वी हैव टोटल 7 इवेंट्स। अब आप समझ गए होंगे जो मैंने आपको सिनेरियो अभी बताया था कि आफ्टर और बिफोर के अंदर डिफरेंस क्या होता है। अब आफ्टर और बिफोर के अंदर आपको जो डिफरेंस समझ में आया है, तो आपको ये सारी चीजें समझ में आ जाएंगी। अब समझ के ट्राई करते हैं समझने की, जो आपको पुराने वाला कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर है। तो अब बिफोर इंसर्ट का सिनेरियो क्या है? बिफोर में मतलब सिंगल ऑब्जेक्ट मैंने बोला है, जब भी हम रिकॉर्ड को इंसर्ट करते हैं तब की बात कर रहे हैं, तब मेरा बिफोर इंसर्ट चलेगा। इफ आई एम गोइंग टू अपडेट द रिकॉर्ड्स ऑन द सिंगल ऑब्जेक्ट, देन आई विल टॉक अबाउट बिफोर अपडेट। इफ आई एम गोइंग टू delete the record on the single object, then I will go to before delete. But if I'm inserting the record on a single object and I'm creating the record on the another object, I'm inserting the record on the single object and I'm inserting the record on another object. Let's say मैंने account के अंदर example लगा लो कि मैंने account, this is my account and this is my contact, this is my another object is contact. So after कहाँ पे चलेगा? मैं account पे trigger लगाया, जैसे भी मैं यहाँ पे रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट करता हूँ डेटाबेस के अंदर, मैंने एक रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट किया, सो हमारे कंडीशन क्या है, क्या सिनेरियो है कि जैसे ही मैं रिकॉर्ड अकाउंट में इंसर्ट करूँ तो मेरा कॉन्टैक्ट भी एक इंसर्ट हो जाना चाहिए, ये सिनेरियो है। देन वो दिस कॉन्टैक्ट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन दिस अकाउंट, राइट? So now I will go to after insert. Whenever I will insert the record. अब जो if I need to update the existing record, whatever we have in database, so then I will go to update. Existing record means update. So I'm saying whenever my this record is updated, then I need to create the record of contact object, or else if I'm updating the record, then my all the contact should be updated. कुछ भी हो सकता है, ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि जैसे आपने यहाँ पे अपडेट पे सिनेरियो लगाया है और इसको क्रिएट करना है आपको, ठीक है। वन मोर थिंग, वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, आपको एक चीज ध्यान में देना है, यहाँ पे एक चीज ध्यान में रखनी है, जैसे भी आप इवेंट्स लिखते हो बिफोर इंसर्ट, सो इट मीन्स ऑन द सेम ऑब्जेक्ट यू आर गोइंग टू इंसर्ट द रिकॉर्ड। जिस ऑब्जेक्ट पे लिखना है सो उस पे आप इंसर्ट ही करोगे, ना कि डीएमएल परफॉर्म करोगे उस ऑब्जेक्ट के ऊपर। लेट्स से मैं अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट की बात कर रहा हूँ। इफ अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट आई एम सेइंग व्हेनेवर माय अकाउंट इज क्रिएटेड, माय कॉन्टैक्ट शुड आल्सो बी गेट क्रिएटेड ऑन द सेम टाइम। मेरा ये कंडीशन है। सो मैं अब ये ट्रिगर किस पे लगेगा? प्लीज थिंक लॉजिकली, ट्राई टू थिंक लॉजिकली। माय क्वेश्चन इज व्हेनेवर आई एम क्रिएटिंग द अकाउंट रिकॉर्ड, माय कॉन्टैक्ट शुड आल्सो बी गेट क्रिएटेड। अब बिल्कुल डायरेक्टली समझ में आ रहा है, जैसे भी मेरा अकाउंट क्रिएट होता है तो कॉन्टैक्ट क्रिएट हो जाए, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि अकाउंट के क्रिएशन पे कॉन्टैक्ट क्रिएट होगा। सो सबसे पहले अपने को क्या क्रिएट करना है? अकाउंट। अब ट्रिगर किस पे लगेगा? अकाउंट पे लगेगा, क्योंकि अकाउंट क्रिएट नहीं करोगे कॉन्टैक्ट पे कैसे जाएगा वो, राइट? सो वी नीड टू इम्प्लीमेंट अ ट्रिगर ऑन द अकाउंट ऑब्जेक्ट. So if my scenario is like this, whenever my account is created, then contact should be get created. So it means I'm performing action on this another object also. It means we are going to use after. But if my question is like this, if I'm going to update, I'm not discussing about any other object. I'm saying whenever my account is created and then my phone number is not blank, then my email ID should be updated. Then why I'm going to another object? Then I will definitely go to before only, because we are performing the action on the same object, right? So as a scenario only. Yep.
And if we already have a record and I just want to update something.
Yeah, on the same object. If they are updated,
same object.
Then we will go to before.
Update.
Yep. Right. So ये हमारा scenario है. If I'm going to cross object, if you are performing some DML or something like that, so that is my after one.
After.
Okay. So delete सबको पता है. We can do one more thing. So we can add one more point here. So that is it will return the list of new records. If you are creating a new records, it will always use a trigger.new. ट्रिगर अभी ये क्या लेके आएगा? आपके नए रिकॉर्ड को इंसर्ट करके लेके आएगा, नए रिकॉर्ड को इंसर्ट करेगा, राइट? नए रिकॉर्ड को ही इंसर्ट करेगा ना। trigger.new का मतलब इट्स अ लिस्ट ऑफ न्यू रिकॉर्ड्स. इट डजंट मीन दैट इज अ trigger.new इज लिटिल स्ट्रेंज. इसका मतलब है लिस्ट ऑफ न्यू रिकॉर्ड्स. अकाउंट, जो मैं अकाउंट की बात कर रहा हूँ तो अकाउंट के रिकॉर्ड लेके आएगा, किसी भी ऑब्जेक्ट की कर रहा हूँ उसी ऑब्जेक्ट के रिकॉर्ड्स लेके आएगा ये, ठीक है? इट विल ब्रिंग लिस्ट ऑफ न्यू रिकॉर्ड्स. दैट विल आल्सो ब्रिंग द लिस्ट ऑफ न्यू रिकॉर्ड्स. डेफिनेटली इट विल ब्रिंग द लिस्ट ऑफ ओल्ड रिकॉर्ड्स, राइट? क्योंकि डिलीट किसको करेंगे हम? नए रिकॉर्ड को करेंगे और पुराने रिकॉर्ड को करेंगे, ओल्ड को करेंगे ना, राइट? सो अब आफ्टर इंसर्ट में इंसर्ट हम पुराने रिकॉर्ड को करेंगे, न्यू रिकॉर्ड को करेंगे, न्यू रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट होगा, राइट? अपडेट किसको करेंगे हम? अब ये न्यू भी हो सकता है, ओल्ड भी हो सकता है, मतलब न्यू वैल्यू भी आ सकती है इसके अंदर, ओल्ड भी आ सकती है. सो वी कैन से ओल्ड एंड न्यू. एंड वन मोर थिंग, डिलीट किसको करेंगे? ओल्ड को, नए को? ओल्ड को, राइट? अब मेरा रिसाइकिल बिन के अंदर चला गया है. लेट्स से दिस जो भी ये पर्सन था, लाइक इसकी लेट्स टेक एग्जांपल, ये एक्सपायर हो गया, ठीक है? अब इसको दोबारा जिंदगी मिली है, दोबारा जिंदगी मिली है, न्यू trigger.new, ठीक है? रिसाइकिल बिन के अंदर जाके वापस आ रहा है, न्यू नए एक हिसाब से नए क्रिएट हो रहा है ना, ठीक है? अब इसके अंदर से जा चुका था, ये दोबारा आया है. सो इट मींस इट इज trigger.new. समझ में आया मानो? नागेंद्र?
Yes, bro.
Cool. ठीक है? So these are the things. So now we are going to, these are the all are the events. ठीक है? So now if you are all are clear,
all are working as not trigger.new and trigger.new. On the time we no need to create any list.
sorry?
all are trigger.new and trigger.old all are working as a listener. It's all collect the data, na,
Yes.
list of data. Na. On that time, we no need to create a list for collecting the new records.
No, you cannot create. So it will automatically bring the list of new records only. You no need to specify any other list. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, bro.
Yep. So now, so we have all these things. So now let's go to 1 second. Yeah. So now let's go to our trigger scenario. So we are going to write a very simple trigger, and whatever things we are going to write, everything will be best practices and all. Okay. So now I'm going to create one trigger. So my trigger is, let's say, on the account object. First of all, let me just check that any of the trigger on the account is existing one created or not. So first of all, like how can we check the triggers and all? So this is our setup. Like you can go to Lightning if you are Lightning lover. You can go to Lightning Experience. Otherwise, Classic is fine. If you want to go to standard object trigger, so you can write the like object name here. Let's say I'm going to standard object triggers. I want to find out the trigger related to account only. So I directly can go there and I can check that. If I want to make it active or deactivate, so I'll go there and I'll make it mark it active or deactivate. I'll edit that one. So this is editable checkbox. So I'll make it save. Similarly, I'll make it inactive. Okay. So these are the things. So I have all triggers are inactive now. So because why I'm making it inactive, and after that I'm going to create new trigger, because on the same object we should not have a more than one trigger. Because if we will have a more than one trigger, then we will not be able to control the order of execution. Like let's say this is a trigger, it's account trigger, account trigger, account update trigger. So I cannot tell to system like this one will run first, this one will be second, this will be third, or this first, second, third. Anyone can be executed anytime. There will be a kind of recursiveness in the triggers. So best way is whatever the complex logic you have, so implement each and every logic in the single trigger only. Okay. So if I'll write account phone update, it's not best practice, but still we use. But no, we made all are inactive, no? Then we can use them. So there is no significance for all that, right? So I'm performing the operation on the same object now. It's already taken. So I already have created the trigger with this one. I might do somewhere else, but let me just see. So I think we already have created. This is on which object? I think this is on contact object. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just create one new trigger. Mobile. Let's take example mobile. Okay. So now I have created this trigger. अपने आप ये syntax अपना आया है trigger name on account object. Like where we are going to implement, जैसे आपका workflow process builder होता है, किस object पे implement करना है. Similarly, we are going to implement the triggers on the account object. So this is a operations which we click the radio button. ये हमारा create के लिए, update के लिए, created, updated, it's every time it's edited, ये सब करते हैं हम. तो सिमिलरली दिस इज माय बिफोर इंसर्ट. बिफोर इंसर्ट मैंने आपको बताया था कि बिफोर इंसर्ट का क्या काम है. बिफोर इंसर्ट का मतलब जब भी हम नई रिकॉर्ड को इंसर्ट करते हैं. ठीक है. सो इफ आई एम राइटिंग हियर बिफोर इंसर्ट एट द सेम टाइम, आफ्टर इंसर्ट एट द सेम टाइम, सो दैट वी यूज कॉन्टेक्स्ट वेरिएबल. सो नाउ आई एम गोइंग टू explain from the simple example. So let's say if my phone number is not equal to null, then my account industry should be updated something like this. Account ACC. It's a trigger.new. ACC. Before that, let me just explain you what is trigger.new. Let me just tell you the result. What trigger.new returns. So here I'm not writing anything. So let me make it little more simple. System.debug trigger.new. Trigger.new हमने यहाँ पे लिया debug के अंदर. How can I debug the code? Okay, how will I debug the code? So I'll easily execute this one and I'll set up the debug logs. Everyone should be aware about debug logs, how to set and all, because this is very important. Okay, so I can renew this one. I already have added this one. I can renew this one and I can delete my all the existing debug logs and all. So I will tell you what is the significance of all. Okay, so now how can I execute this one? So जैसे मनु ने बताया था कि जैसे भी हम ट्रिगर को एग्जीक्यूट करते हैं, DML परफॉर्म करते हैं, that time our trigger will execute. So now I'm going to perform some of the DMLs on the trigger. So we have update or insert. Whenever I will insert the records, that time this operation will be happen. Let's say I'm writing TCS or something like this. So let's see the result. Now let me just go to load new logs. So मेरे पास ये आया. So if I'm click on view, I can check what I'm getting in trigger.new or something like this. So it's a line number 3. Line number 3 जो आपको ये green line दिख रही है, it means मैं कहीं नहीं गया, मैं यहीं पे क्यों गया? क्योंकि मुझे पता है green line में डेटा आएगा मेरा. ठीक है. So अब line number 3 है, तो line number 3 के अंदर मेरा डेटा है. So देखो अपने को ID नहीं मिली, ID is null. Rest of the things I get it. So it's a TCS. We are getting the value TCS and all. ID we don't get ID in the trigger.new means in the before trigger. ये कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ गया ना सबको?
सॉरी ना, वो ये समझ में नहीं आया मुझे, वो डिबग लॉग का क्या था?
देखो क्या है, if I want to debug something in the code level, then I'll add this statement debug log system.debugs. ठीक है, system.debug किया, इसके पैरामीटर में आपको जो भी आपको यूज करना है, हम यहाँ पे डिस्कस कर रहे थे trigger.new के बारे में. And I was telling you it always return the list of new records. Return का मतलब ये आपको मतलब list of new records की आउटपुट देता है. अब list of new records, if here I am going to insert the records, so it is showing this line. तो यहाँ पे देखो ID नहीं मिलेगी अपने को, बट यहाँ पे नया रिकॉर्ड हमने क्या इंसर्ट किया था? TCS किया था, राइट? तो TCS किया था, तो इसने TCS का रिकॉर्ड यहाँ पे दिखाया कि भाई हाँ TCS का नेम के अंदर आपने TCS डाला है, टाइप में आपने ब्लैंक छोड़ा है, पेरेंट आईडी में भी ब्लैंक है, आपका बिलिंग स्टेट भी ब्लैंक है, सारे फील्ड्स बोला है कि नल पड़े हैं सारे के सारे.
So this like we used to get the debug logs down itself, right? So we don't get the such logs in triggers.
Sorry, come again.
So in the developer console,
no, that is not a best way to do the debugging and all, because एक टाइम के लिए आप कर सकते हो यहाँ पे, but एक टाइम पे आप काफी कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे. So let's take example, it is around 5 MB, 10 MB and something like this. That is not that feasible. Instead of that, so this is more feasible.